are the grounds open to the public? And unfortunately they're not. I suppose we have to think about the privacy of our patients here, so they're not open generally to the public. They're really for visitors and patients and staff.
Just check, Gráinne, can they hear you down the back? I'm just wondering with the mic. Can you hear down
Can you hear me, Helen? Yeah. Okay. So one of the questions is if there are any suggestions to help family or a friend to notice and enjoy nature. There are a couple along that line, so maybe we'll just take that one.
Yeah. Can everyone hear me? Great. So I would say on your seat you should have one of these handouts. So they're kind of the 5 takeaway points from the talk. If you want to try and get your family or friends to kind of connect with nature a little bit more. And again, we talk about the 120 minutes outside. So the researchers show it could be two 60-minute walks, a week, or it could be 6 20-minute walks a week. It doesn't make any difference. It's really getting outdoors during the week for at least 120 minutes. So that would be really, really important. Also around the kind of mindfulness engagement to nature with the senses. So again, when I'm going for a walk, I usually look at the movement of the branches, movement of the trees, because that helps calm everything down for me, because you can't be in your mind and your body at the same time. So you can't be worrying about things and then looking at the movement of the trees at the same thing. So when you focus on one of your senses, it instantly takes you out of your kind of thinking, worrying mind. So watch the movement of the trees, watch the movement, of the clouds, just notice the air on your skin, just breathe in deeply in terms of noticing the different scents that are in the air. Maybe notice the different colors that are around you. Listen to the different bird song. For me, the wood pigeon really brings me back, the seagulls, the robins. So you can learn a little bit about the birds that are in your garden, who visits your garden, what do they sound like. So that's really around the senses. And again, the pathways in terms of bringing beautiful nature photography into your home, keeping a nature journal, just noticing maybe 3 good things in nature that I mentioned, every day. Focus on the positive, because there's a lot of negativity out there in the world that we're bombarded now in terms of all the media stuff. So focus on 3 good things in nature every day, and then develop reciprocity. I have here, it's really important. What that means is that we shouldn't just take from nature all the time. We should try and give something back as well, whether that's, a local beach clean, whether, it's to give a little bit of time to environmental charity, help with the, tidy towns, just to try and give something back as well. So hopefully this handout might be good for your family or friend that will try and enhance their connection to nature.
There's another one that's probably a little bit connected. How could we inspire children to connect with nature?
I think just, letting children be children outdoors. Again, there's so much structure time for children now, which is really important for their development, but their life is really structured, in terms of constant after school activities. They have their school and they don't really have any free time. So again, just letting them play and explore, outdoors in the mud with sticks. I think we're getting kind of risk averse, in terms of, risk children and kind of risk play, but again, once they're supervised, once they're safe, but let them explore just the textures and the sounds as well. And there's a lot of there's a fantastic network. It's called the Children and Nature Network. It was started in the States by this gentleman that wrote a book on the last child in the woods, and there's some fantastic resources there. So if you have children and you want them to kind of deepen their nature connection, that's a really good resource, the Nature and Children Network.
Okay. Can you explain why the morning sun is so beneficial to us?
Yeah. So I mentioned that there's some research done in terms of, the blue light in the mornings around the circadian rhythms. And I think what the research looked at was that it's really important not to wear sunglasses in the mornings, you know, outside all the time, that you have to let the light hit your eyes. So there's something about the cones in your eyes and the reflection of the light at that time in the morning in terms of the light spectrum. So I think the optimal time, they say, really is between 9 and 11. I mean, if you look at the beautiful light at the moment, the autumnal light, it's absolutely magnificent. So get out any time of the day. It's better than none, but if you can, you know, the early morning light is really important as well.
Is there any evidence that wild nature is better than manicured nature, for example, in a back garden?
So again, it's there's a lot of evidence in terms of the spectrum of nature, you know, from kind of tamed, so-called tamed nature to wild nature. Like, you know, people that go on wilderness programs, or they might go on wilderness retreats, so they're in the middle of nowhere for maybe 10 days. They look at the impact of that. The reality is, wherever you can get to, you know, wherever you can have contact with nature is really, really important. I think it's good to have a mixture. You know, for me, I love my garden, but I have to get away, you know, to the mountains, or I have to get away to the forests as well. So the most important thing is wherever you access nature is, you know, could be on your doorstep. But some people don't have the transport links, you know. I mean, some people don't have, and they might only get away to a national park, you know, once a year, you know. So again, it's really important for, you know, the government and the town planners and urban planners as well to have links to some of those kind of wilder spaces as well. So again, it depends on your preference. I mean, I love wild nature. I've been in some of the wildest places in the world, but then when the Celtic tiger came and the money was scarce, I had to learn to love nearby nature, you know. So again, it's equally beneficial.
And that actually kind of brings us on to the next question. What do you suggest to raise the importance and promote connecting with nature with our policymakers and funders for nature-based intervention programs?
Great. Thanks, Grania. So there's a lot of funding, even like European funding around nature-based solutions. There's a lot of European funding, like Horizon, the Horizon funding around kind of nature-based therapies, significant funding. So the evidence base has been around maybe for around, you know, 10 or 15 years, but we need, I suppose, more research. We need kind of longer studies. But the reality is, even just looking at some of the kind of European research, looking at some of the European funding, I mean, that gives credibility in terms of policymakers. I think also, you know, bringing out groups of people that are responsible, like policymakers, out to do some nature connection work is very important, so they can experience, you know, the benefit of it as well. I'm part of it's the IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature specialist group on health and well-being. There's around 40 international people on it, and you know, we've developed a Nature is Good Medicine policy document which gives all the research. So often, you know, we would give that to people so they can try and promote it, you know, in their local area as well. So there is the research and there is funding in this area, but again, it just takes a bit of time. So.
And I suspect that with you know, when the politicians are coming around to talk to us about the elections, that maybe we could just emphasise that we appreciate nature and that it's important to us, even just that much, might put it on the agenda. So maybe we'll finish up at that, unless anyone else has any other comment they want to make or any other burning issue. I think I'm going to finish up with one of the comments here that says, what impressed me most this evening was Shirley's embodiment of the subject, and I'll certainly second that. So thank you all so much for coming.